Hey guys, welcome back to Advanced Elements. We're back with another episode for this week. Your host David, and again with me is two usual boys, Nathan and Christian. Today we're going to be talking about what happened in the past weekend, which is Ascent Boston. So guys,
Yay.
clap for Ascent Boston. Clap for
Can somebody count
the
how many
return,
fire cards, fire decks?
the return of Lorraine. The return of Lorraine
Lorraine
being
wins
the
another
best deck
Ascent.
in this format.
Level
She's
3
won it.
Lorraine. This is the third time that level 3 Lorraine has won an Ascent.
What good timing.
With Ryle.
Yeah.
Back in FTC.
Hey,
FTC,
and
FTC
we,
format.
we put out our video
It was a
about
fire meta
Ensoul.
back then. True. It was a
Yeah,
fire meta
fire
back
Ensoul.
then. It's a fire meta now. So that's the only time Lorraine can win is in fire meta.
I think this is the first time. I think this is the first time Crux Knight has won.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
definitely true. Crux Knight.
I think
is
Crux Knight.
literally-
This is the first time Crux Knight has won.
Crux Knight's like literally only played in Ensoul, and this is the first time Ensoul's won. That's for sure.
Yes, this is the first time Ensoul's won.
So, David made the prediction. He posted the Ensoul video and now Ensoul won. Coincidence? I think not. How different is this deck?
Different, but it's fine.
Is it really different?
Well, like
It's
this
playing
one
Clarent.
is literally,
It's playing Clarent.
This one plays Clarent and GCR.
Like
Okay.
the fact that it's not a Looking Glass Crux deck is kind of really an interesting decision. But he's like trying to play Clarent while also making space for more swords. So you kind of have to cut some of the Looking Glass swords, I think.
Well, we'll just get straight into it, I guess. Like we'll kind of just quickly look into the winners deck list, which is Bobby. Congratulations to him again for winning this event.
This is the first Ascent he's played in. He went to Ascent Worlds last year,
Okay, this is the first time he's.
and he played Nats. But it's the first Ascent that he's played in, which is really
It's the
interesting.
first Ascent he's played in, and it's the first time he's day 2. So he literally came out of nowhere.
That's
Guys,
cool.
this
That's
is-
awesome.
Guys, this is what I'm saying. Like Ryle is just making people good. It's great. Yeah, if we go through his list, he's playing a GCR list and 7 swords. GCR and 7 swords.
Yeah, I mean, Clarent's
Um,
kind of a fake sword because it's 2 cost, so you can't
Clarent-
whip it with Ensoul.
Clarent is like, yeah, actually, like watching him play, Clarent was like really good. Like, I actually gained a lot more respect for Clarent after watching it.
Yeah, it's great
Yeah.
as just like a kind of like the way that Fluffy Shopkeep has been fantastic for Ensoul in that it lets you win the game without casting Ensoul. Clarent's the same. Where, like,
Fluffy
it just
Shopkeep.
buffs all of your swords.
That card literally won him the finals.
Yeah. So
It
for
definitely won him the finals because it's so good against Vanitas, but also Fluffy Shopkeep is like pretty close to the MVP of the deck. Like if you take out, okay, like obviously Ryle kind of an important card in that deck, but like Fluffy Shopkeep is so good for Ensoul. It's so good.
You don't need Ryle.
So-
You don't need Ryle in this deck. It's fine.
I mean, I
Ryle's
think
fine, Ryle's
after
fine.
after Ryle gets banned, which maybe it'll get banned, maybe it won't. After Ryle gets banned, Ensoul is still
Ryle's fine,
playable
guys.
because of Fluffy Shopkeep.
Yeah,
Fluffy Shopkeep
I would
will keep this
agree.
deck playable.
I would agree. Yeah. This deck's not dead
think-
if
I think
Rael
Ra-
dies.
I'm honestly down to see builds of Ensoul that are like, maybe you still play fire, but even just like wind Ensoul with Fluffy Shopkeep, and you can just like, you can suppress it, you can reclaim it, you can banish more swords. Like, there's heaps of ways to make this card get insane value, and then just when you're able to get 4 swords in your banishment relatively easily, you can just bring out a Drawn Blade or a Sword of Seeking and swing for 5, and it's like, it's super relevant. The rest of this build is pretty standard. It's playing the Spectre package, obviously, it's playing Ensoul, obviously, it's playing Ghosts. The only thing here that is like kind of sticking out to me is the 2 copies of Incap in mainboard.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's
I
for
think,
the
I think
Ryle
there's been
mirror.
a lot of people wanting to play Incap.
Understandably
I think,
so.
yeah.
It's a great card, and if you have the influence for it, it's good. I don't know how often this card has the influence to like incap and do something else that's relevant on the turn. So
It could be more of an early card against Ryle, it seems.
People have been saying that Incap's just a great card. It's like one of the only ways to trade evenly when your opponent plays Ryle the Abyss.
yeah, it is one of the best cards in the game right now, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Ensoul 1, Ryle 1. If you look at the top 8, you'll see one color. And
No. I don't agree with this. I'm gonna dispute this. I'm gonna
he's gonna
this.
dispute this.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
dispute that there's technically dual champion, like a dual colors for 5 of these decks, which is the next 5 deck.
I guess we'll move on to the next deck. This is the standout, the Vanitas, Dominus, Rex, Fire, Wind
What do they
package.
call it? Ponita or something? Ponita?
I'll just make it known that I wasn't able to watch Ascent or like I'd keep up with it at all. So when people were talking about this deck, I was like, what are they talking about? So For me and for other people who are just looking at this deck, what am I looking at? What's going on here? What's the idea?
So it's a really straightforward deck. It's kind of like just the classic Vanitas fantasy of you get to level 3 and you start punching them, and then Vanitas level 3's on champion hit is your opponent's materializes for the next turn cost 1 more, which is very, very painful. The earlier in the game you can start swinging, the more value you get out of this ability, because you start taxing your opponent earlier, it costs them more resources and stuff like that. The deck is really trying to turbo to 3 really, really fast, and then start hitting people, and then also after you turbo to 3 against these Rile decks, then you bring out Censor. And now they're under Censor, and you're level 3, and all of the materializes cost 1 more, and so their entire engine is like really, really hard to work with. It's a really smart like anti-Rile deck, and then it kind of is able to get through taunts and intercepts using horses. So it plays Dilu, it plays Red Hair, and it doesn't play the unique allies to turn them on. Instead, it just says that I'm going to get to level 3, and level 3, Pride 3, I'm allowed to attack.
Forget the bonus effects.
My Dilu will swing at your shieldmate, and then my champion will swing at your face.
The Dilu stays tap at the end phase.
Yes,
Yeah.
Like,
and the red hair doesn't discard on attack.
No Vigor, no hasty, don't need any of that. And then the rest of the package is just playing like the Rile package as well as some aggro cards to try and push for that little bit of extra damage. And there's some cool cards in the material deck. We see Beast Soul Visage as a way to get more power onto your allies, and we see Impact Hammer as a way to get more power onto your champion, so you can push through like Resolute Stands and other defensives to make sure your on-champion hit connects and you tax your opponent. So it's a really, really cool deck.
The idea is you just go down to 0 influence.
You go to a 0 or 1 influence, pretty much, yeah.
And you just make the game really awkward for your opponent to play. And then you'll just slowly recoup with GCR and Fire Resonance Bauble. And like to be clear, like this is the game plan versus fire decks, maybe some wind decks. This is not your game plan versus water decks, because they can frostbind your Vanitas and you will probably lose on the spot. Like this deck is really interesting because normally trading -1 with your opponent is good for the player that has more cards. But because this deck gets so much value out of the champion effect, you don't really care about the cards in your hand. So trading -1 with your opponent is actually still pretty good for you, even though you're the lower influence player.
So I guess then what counters this deck is then just like preventing the attacks from going through, right?
Thought about trying to beat it, and I think you need to have like an intercept with Terrafring on the board to get through it. Because otherwise their horses or whatever to clear your taunt or intercept and then swing at your face anyway is actually quite difficult to stop in that sense. And you probably will need to play something that either stops them from turboing to 3 or otherwise interrupts their game plan, or something that can sustain through the damage that's coming at you and doesn't really care about the materializes and can still win with the fact that your opponent is low influence.
I think just the lack of water being like the format, like this deck is very, very good if everyone's playing fire. I'm not sure how the game plan is against aggro. I'm guessing you're just racing at that point against them.
I would be very curious as to what their Water Diana matchup is, like just the Aetherwing Diana. I suspect it's not fantastic for them.
I think the deck was a very good medical. I don't think this deck is broken in any shape or form. I think it's good deck to counter the other Rile decks. That's the way I just see it.
I mean, I think it's probably worth acknowledging that Pickle Sword might be the best deck builder in Grand Archive history. I almost don't even think that's like a controversial statement. Like Chess Club has shown up with 3 or 4 different decks at this point that have been completely surprising. They built the first shell of the like staple Sylvie list that stuck around for a long time. I remember there was the like a restanding Merlin with Eventide Spear, and now this Vanitas list is the decks that stand out to me. Definitely well done to them. They did a fantastic showing at Boston. Taking 5 of top 8 is absurd.
So let's just say, you know, a bunch of people are bringing this deck to locals or something, or to a store champs or regionals. What's your deck to counter it?
Water allies.
Water allies? Fractals.
Fractals, water allies, yeah. Like you just stay low to the ground. Like they literally don't have any damage. A Dilus and all that stuff don't do anything, right? Early turns.
If you kill off the Dilu or the Red Hair or whatever horse they play, like they don't have any cards left. They literally only have their champion. If you have a Frostborn Paladin on the board and they have level 3 Vanitas and a Red Hair, and you go, I'm gonna refracting your Red Hair, and they go, okay, I have a level 3 Vanitas staring at your Frostborn Paladin. Like, what do? Like, if you can get to a game state where you don't really care about your material anymore and you have more influence than the Vanitas, like the deck doesn't actually do anything other than Vanitas punches you in the face. It's the same problem that like when Vanitas had when the Altar set came out and Vanitas like first came out, was that like you could get to level 3 really quickly, you could start punching people, you could be really annoying, but like you
But
didn't
that's it.
actually kill people that quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the deck has its counters. Deck has its weaknesses. Great call. Great call. So looking at the other deck, so Jin did show up, and it came 11th in the whole thing, right?
Jin had a pretty solid showing, I think all of them. There's like 6 or 7 of them that made day 2. So it's a pretty solid performance from Jin. Definitely his best performance in the history of the game. Mostly, I think this deck just like has a really good matchup versus Ensoul. People are saying that it beats Luxem, which I'm not super convinced about, but I don't actually know what the results are. So yeah, I think it just has like a kind of good matchup into some of these Rile decks. And also just being immortal just like gives you an extra turn a lot of the
It's
time.
also like people don't play like Spurn to Ash or Meltdowns, right? Like reduced Ash, like the downside of reduced Ash is that it has to cost 0, and Jin's best Regalias are 1 cost. So
Yeah.
by the way, just mention as well like Robotron for coming 7th with Serene Luxem Xander and Sky Summer playing I'm guessing this is KFC. He's obviously changed a couple of cards here and there, but yeah, same sort of strategy, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
And you'll see like Suzaku, which won the previous big event, Quicksilver Cup. Well, not many Gorjas made it to top cut or day 2.
I would say that Gorja had a solid performance. I think people were kind of expecting it to be like the boogeyman and it'd be like a prominent deck, but it's not quite there. But it definitely still has a decent showing for itself.
Or maybe it's just because it like you verse Vanitas. Actually, like more I think about it, like you verse Vanitas and just get taxed, right?
Yeah, he's on 25 health as well.
Yeah, I mean that's how the
25
Vanitas deck
health.
beats aggro, right? Is you just have 25 health. They can kill any guys you play. Like if you play an Arthur, like it's not living in a turn. Like Vanitas deck is playing Safeguard, right? So you can go Safeguard, you can go Tariff, and you can just keep swinging at their face until they die.
Well, they pretty much die in 3 turns, right? In 3 swings. So like turn 2, you pretty much Vanitas and Horse, and then they can't clear the Horse most of the time, and you bring out an Impact Hammer, and you're just like, cool, you're pretty much dead now.
Yeah, they kill him pretty quickly back. And then there's Tristan's, which Tristan did pretty well in the last Quicksilver Cup as well.
Win is fine.
I would actually argue that Tristan did not do well this tournament.
Not this tournament, no. I don't think it did either.
Going into the tournament, some people were saying that like Tristan is still doing really well because Tristan was winning a lot of events leading up to Boston. I mean, personally, I never thought that Tristan was fantastic at keeping up with Rile decks. I think this event you can kind of see that. Like, yes, there's plenty of Tristans that made day 2. I don't think any of them were close to making top cut.
And then what else is there? There's Luxem's and
CL. There's a couple CLs there.
Oh yeah, CL.
I'm just glad like the new champions actually like seeing play, unlike the
Champions
last format.
plural, you say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, mate. Where's Miss Diana, David?
She's at the bottom. But
yeah?
She made day 2. It's 2 that made day 2.
Yeah.
There's one fire aggro Diana and there's one water frog Diana.
One is fire, one is water.
Totally represented. A lot of people were saying that Luxem was gonna be the boogeyman. What's your opinion on that now?
I still think Luxem is one of the best decks in the format. I think you could argue that like it definitely might have an awkward matchup versus this Vanitas list, and I think it's also really hard to modify the Luxem list to beat that. I think that it's a deck that is flexible enough that you've always been able to add enough cards in to swing your matchup versus any deck. But this Vanitas deck, when I think about how to beat it, it's actually very, very difficult. Otherwise, you're doing pretty okay still. And like you have good representation, like you made top cut, you have plenty of Luxem and Data, and it still I think has fine matchups versus the rest of the Rile decks and a lot of the aggro decks.
The problem with like this whole Rile package as well is like it eats up like pretty much everyone's. It eats up like 16 slots of your deck, especially in Luxem, right? Like I want to bring these cards in from my sideboard, but I don't really have a space to.
I think there are still a decent number of spots that you can play with, but yeah, the Rile package definitely hurts.
Yes, I'm looking at the stats for the elements representation.
Do I just leave this call? Should I just leave?
Yeah, no, David, you have to sit through this because you refuse to see the facts.
You keep saying that it's fine. I was 65% of the day 1 metagame. That is the highest an element has ever been for day 1. We are reaching, like this is higher presence than Razor Gale at Toronto.
Yep.
In terms of day 1 element presence. Now, I'll give that Wind had a better conversion to day 2 at Toronto than Fire did, but that is the level of dominance that we're talking about here. In terms of just presence of like people wanting to bring the deck. It so far outstrips peak water meta, peak wind meta. Like this is absurd levels of presence for just the day one of what people are bringing. Like peak water was I think like Melbourne, and that was I'm looking at it now 36% water. If you look at Toronto, that's 37% wind. We're at 65% fire. That's like almost adding those two numbers together. Like that's crazy, crazy amounts of fire decks. It's
David.
Yeah, but I just feel like I'm a bit torn with this. Like I am torn. Ryle is obviously the reason why fire has been becoming more and more popular. 175 fire decks out of
269.
169, literally less than 100 of the other two elements. Like, yes, that just seems like overrepresentation.
It doesn't just seem like it. It is over-representation.
It just seems. It seems.
Uh-huh.
It seems like
normal representation is a third, a third, a third. Like,
Things look a bit different right now.
one of these numbers is bigger than the other two.
If you ask like the general public in people playing Grand Archive, it's like, what is your favorite element? Like, what do you like to do the most? It's to draw. Like, drawing cards is the simplest, and it's also like what people like doing in general. I think like the card Creative Shock, Hasty Messenger, Cremation Ritual, those kinds of cards, allowing you to draw cards, having influence and things like that. I think people generally like fire more than the other two elements. I then look at the archetypes that were played, and it seems like there's more. But I also then see the problem of like every deck is playing Rile the Abyss.
We've been talking a lot about Rile the Abyss. Why don't we get into actually what Weebs is doing about Rile? All right, because we've been talking a lot about the card, its strength. All right, so to be clear, the changes that they've made in the immediate aftermath of Ascent Boston is that they've moved Rile the Abyss to Category 2, so it's not banned yet, but it is as close to getting banned as it can be without actually getting banned. Straight to Category 2 without going to Category 1.
The games are determined on who has more Rile the Abyss. Then the other side of it, I look at it going like, this is an engine. Like, it's literally getting to your level 3 with influence in hand. If you're going to play a level 3 win deck, most of the time you're playing Women Engineer and Reclaiming that deck. If you're playing a water deck, like at that time with the whole floating Lost in Thought engine, you're playing Fractal of Rain. I think this card will get banned, but when it gets banned, I don't know. I personally hope they will stick with it longer and stick until the end of DTR and then ban it. Ban it in DTR, because after DTR it'll have more Spectre support, right? There'll be more Spectres coming out, which is more scarier. People are talking about like, why is this card like Weebs haven't tested this, like they didn't do enough, but you got to look at it. Weebs had to test ahead of the format, and they would have tested Rile the Abyss in a format with Dissonant Fractal and Lost in Thought and possibly Icebound Slam. That's probably why I would say like Weebs didn't know how powerful this card is. I just feel like we're always going to fall under the same cycle. It's always going to be card getting released now because the amount of ban lists coming out, something's going to come out and then, cool, this card is too strong now, we just ban it straight away. I think every set is going to have an Icebound Slam and Rile the Abyss.
To give a different perspective, so Spectre is considered an archetype on Fractal of Insight, and that never happened for Fractal of Rain or Reclaim. And in this specific tournament, there are 141 decks playing Rile the Abyss. That is over half of the decks in the tournament are playing Rile the Abyss in that deck, which is an absurd stat that we've never seen presence like that ever before. And while I can agree with you that yes, Rile is an engine, and in a sense all elements have their staple engines, Rile outstrips the existing engines by such a wide margin. It is, I mean, it's a lot like Icebound Slam. I think the problem that I have with Rile specifically is less that it's like too strong or even that it's in fire. I think you know I take a little bit of issue with it being in fire because I'm not a big fan of the fire gameplay. But the problem that I have with the deck is that it's homogenized all of the fire decks into something that they all feel the same. You talked about Windmill and Reclaim being in every wind deck, or Fractal of Rain being in every water deck. Yes, that was a common way to get value in those decks, but you could look at, like, Windari wasn't playing Windmill Reclaim. Tristan could definitely cut Windmill Reclaim. Fractal of Rain, and it's like, yes, there was the mill deck that was obviously going to be Fractal of Rain, but, like, the Fractals deck was, I mean, it was playing Fractal of Rain, but most of the players weren't even imbuing it because it wasn't a value engine there. Like, these decks had different feels to them. And even Fire, back when Fire was good, or Fire decks that have been good, like Fire Luxem played very differently to Ensoul or Merlin, and even Fire Diana had a very different feel because you were, you know, double dodging on you all the time. Now all these Spectre decks just, they feel like they do the same thing to me on all of their early turns, and the number of like early game class bonus cards that these decks are running has really, really dropped. And I don't feel like I get to play unique decks. I feel like I play against a Spectre deck where they play Rile the Abyss in their early game, and then they get to level 3 with 8 cards in hand, and then I die. And I don't know how I die, but I die. And it's like, as the person playing against that, they don't feel like sufficiently different decks to categorize as different decks. They feel like decks that, are doing most of the same things that have different like tech choices. Like this guy is playing a Rile deck, and he teched into Luxem because he wants to have a bit more healing versus aggro. Or this guy is teched into Ensoul because he wants to play Fluffy Shopkeep and he wants to have flame access. They don't feel like different decks. They feel like the same deck that has different tech choices. That's how I feel in this metagame. If it goes, I will be happy to see it going. And if it goes soon, I will be happy to see it going soon. And that's my perspective on it.
Yeah, I guess that's where Nathan and I are a little bit different because I feel like once you get to that level 3, you're playing a different game. Like the game starts. Before that, yes, exactly the same kind of play patterns. You're just trying to throw floatings in the bin and things like that. My question is then, is Ryle the problem or is it Liminal Guide? I think Liminal Guide is actually the bigger problem than Ryle the Abyss. What I don't like, I will say this is kind of why I think Ryle needs to be banned, is the fact that level 1 decks can play Ryle the Abyss and get value off it. And I don't like that.
So is Ryle the
That's just
problem
my
or is Liminal Guide the problem?
I would say Liminal is the problem, but it's very hard for them to ban a guide.
So I think I heard 3 questions in there. One was, these decks are different at level 3. The other was, is Ryle the problem? And the third one is, should Ryle be playable in level 1 decks? I want to have a response to all 3. I'll start with the first one. I think, yes, your deck starts at level 3, but I think for your opponent, trying to beat your deck starts at level 0. And you can see the only way to consistently beat the Ryle decks is to kill them before they get to level 3. And so for the purposes of beating a Ryle deck, they're all the same, right? Because you're hitting them before they get to before the deck turns online and changes. It's like the only good way to kill them. The second point was Ryle versus Liminal. Personally, like, it's part of a package. They all go hand in hand. And I think that you could hit any of Ryle or Undying Dreams or Liminal or even Evercurrent Radar, and it would like solve most of the issue that I have with Ryle. Hitting Ryle itself is like, it guarantees there is nothing like this, the whole package falls apart completely without Ryle. Whereas you hit one of the other pieces and it becomes like less consistent or less strong or whatever it is, but like maybe it still exists in some format. But just like the ability to go +2 on your first turn is kind of insane value, and we've never really seen it before aside from going second with Icebound Slam. I think you could definitely argue that Liminal Guide is a very, very strong card, getting access to the body. I can see hitting Liminal, but personally, I don't have a problem with them hitting Ryle. As for the level 1 deck question, I actually think Ryle the Abyss was intended to be used in level 1 decks and not level 3 decks. Like, you can look at the Spectre package, and it's, I think, pretty clear to me that it's designed to be a level 1 deck where you pitch a bunch of Spectres and you bring them back from your graveyard and you kind of kill them. The problem is that they're not using it for that. They're using it to pitch floating and just gain value. And even these level 1 decks are just pitching floating or maybe like a Liminal Guide and just using it to get more cards to kill you. But honestly, if that was the only use of Ryle the Abyss, I suspect that Weebs wouldn't ban the card. Is that a metagame that I'm happy with? Not particularly. But like, to me, the card is designed for that. And part of the reason why they're banning it, or why they moved it up on the ban list, is because it's being used outside of that archetype. I think people were really excited about Spectres when the spoilers came out. Like, there's that one that brings your card back from the graveyard, and people were like, oh, this card's crazy. And I think people were excited about Spectres, and I feel like they weren't excited about Suited. But we've seen Suited come up, and we haven't seen like a Spectres Allies aggro deck come up. So, yeah, I'm pretty curious to why it hasn't. I don't know why it hasn't. Maybe people have tried it and it just isn't very good.
What's the Gorgia one, right? Like, Gorgia is the only deck that's running Spectres. Like, they run that ally coming back.
Even then, it's only running.
Yeah.
Isn't it only running Paramore? I don't think it's running the res one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he's talking like a full-on Spectre committed build with the item, you know,
like trying to play like a Spectre board game, like board
playing
What's
ephemerals.
his name? The Anthem guy, Lawson. No.
Lorsa.
I just give it Lawson. I was like, man, I feel like a chicken. So I don't know. What do you think, Christian? What's your take on it?
I don't know. I'm just going to be echoing what basically both of you have said already. But like I said before, if big tournaments just continue to be like majority of one element, that's never a good thing. They have to do something about it if it's just going to continue to be like this. In my opinion, it's just, while there are a lot of decks and a lot of deck varieties, I guess as a deck builder, it feels kind of boring as well. To just be like, okay, if I'm playing Fire, I know what cards I'm playing in my deck. and you kind of just have to. Like if you're playing Fire and you're not playing the Rail package, like what are you doing with your life? You know?
If I can speak to that, I think like I played Ryle Ensoul once, and then I was like, I didn't even want to play any more Ryle decks because it was like, yeah, I know how to build it, and like I'm not going to learn that much by playing it because it's like, I mean, yeah, you obviously definitely learn some, but I was like, I mean, I'm someone that should be trying Ryle Loxum because it's like a good deck and it's like a deck that I played a decent amount of, but like I don't even want to play the deck because it's just like I don't feel like there's significant learnings from playing that deck.
Look, I said this during our draft that I can totally see this card being banned because I can totally see it being splashed in other decks, and you know they banned Baby Grey Slime for being splashed in other decks, so why would they not ban a card that has been seeing 100 times more representation than Baby Grey Slime ever has in its entire career? Baby Grey Slime is very, very limited to like a few things. This card is just being used in everything. I think as long as Baby Grey Slime is banned, this card has to be like up. Like it's the same thing. I disagree with David where he mentioned design wise, like they had this in a format where Dissonant Fractal and Lost in Thoughts were unbanned. We just don't know that, first of all.
Sorry, that's all a speculate. Like that's all just me thinking about it, right? Like,
yeah, and even so, like some element of foresight should be had if that was the case. I personally think this is a bit of an oversight design wise in terms of just the set in general, because like it doesn't take like a genius to look at the new set coming out and just look at that card and be like, hold on a second, that card reads draw 3 and it also reads discard 2. Let me just check the other cards that go with it. And you look at them and you're like, huh, okay. This is also fast. To me, it just felt like a bit of a design oversight. That's all.
I think I can definitely see the point that you're making. Like the fact that I think Ryle was the first deck, like even before the set came out, people were kind of testing with it and saying this is like really strong. So it's not like it's like something that takes or took a while to come out. And I do think that like I don't fault the playtest team too much for it, just because I think they've tried a number of things in the past to try and make level 3 work, and it kind of hasn't worked at all in the last 2 sets. So I'm happy to see that they went too hard rather than not hard enough. Like if we had another format where it was just level 1 wind and water decks, or even level 1 fire decks being completely dominant the entire format, I think people would take a big issue with that. So getting to see some level 3 decks, even if, you know, I'm not the happiest player in the metagame, like I am happy to see that level 3 showing up, and this isn't like another level 1 deck format.
Yeah. I also said in the draft as well that would I take that trade of seeing more level 3 decks if they were all running Ryle, and I did say yes. So, you know, I mean, I got what I paid for, you know. And also, I think it wouldn't be as bad if wind and water also had equivalent levels of like card advantage. I'm not saying give wind and water Ryle as well, but all I'm saying is like you kind of like took away Lost in Thought, you kind of took away Dissonant Fractals, and rightfully so, I guess. But you took away too much from one and you added too much to the other, and in this balance, it's...
But that's what I mean. I think that's to do with the testing stuff, right? Because the cards had to be printed ahead of time. So like, I don't think Weebs would have tested like Fractals a couple of months later. They would have had to test Ral the Abyss before all the ban lists and stuff happened, so the cards to be printed. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like they tested it in a format where Water still had Lost in Thought and things like that, Icebound Slam.
So I'll maybe agree with Icebound Slam. I don't think they were testing with Lost in Thought, or I think if they were testing with Lost in Thought, they knew it was going to get banned, because they banned Lost in Thought like the second the set dropped, because I think of Diana. The same way that, like, I think when they were testing Jin, they were testing it, and then they were like, okay, we need to ban Chalice, because Jin with Chalice is, like, it's too much, and that's why they put Chalice on Cat 2 straight away. And then it turned out not to be the case, and, you know, they were, whoops, okay, I guess that's not it. Yeah, so I think I've heard this point before a couple of times where people are saying, like, Ryle is needed for level 3 to work, and the correct solution is to give Water and Wind cards of the similar power level. That is, like, for me as an individual, like, the opposite of what I want to say.
Yeah, same here.
Just because...
Yeah, I don't want to say that, yeah.
First off, I think David is correct when he says that if you put this level of power in terms of value generation into wind and water, they will abuse it so much worse than what fire is doing. And then secondly, I think the problem that I have with Ryle, as I said earlier, less that it's in fire and more that it's like it's made all of these decks that I used to think of as special individual like unique decks, and it's turned them all into a very sameish feeling deck. And if you would do the same thing to wind or water, where you made all of these decks that were like, you made wind Ari feel and play very similarly to wind Luxem or wind Tristan or wind Seryu, like I would take an issue with that because I like these decks to feel different and play differently from the start of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Creative Shock into Floating and Windmill into Reclaim, and I guess, I don't know, Fractal of Rain or Backup Charger into Fracturize. Like, these are all pretty, while they're all like pretty like typical ways of building the deck to level up, they didn't feel at any point like really diluting the identity of the deck. So those were fine, but this one is just really diluting the identity. Like you said, it's just.
I think Creative Shock had that feeling. I remember back in the day, people used to say like ban Creative Shock, right? Creative Shock was on that.
Oh, that was like set one, man.
But like that's what it was though. But it was that.
Yeah,
Creative
because
Shock
it was the
was
only
like-
because Windmere Engineer and Fractal of Rain and none of those cards existed yet. You know, like so it was
No,
the
but, like,
only
it was also the
engine.
Fact, it was the only engine. That's true. But it was also the fact that like every deck was playing Creative Shock because Creative Shock has a class bonus, a mage class bonus,
And every deck will continue to play Creative Shock until the end of time, I think.
No, and that's what I mean. I think it's just an engine piece. Like Ryle is an engine piece. And that's why I think like cutting off one of the cards that he can discard is a bigger loss. It doesn't kill the engine. It just reduces its consistency, which then can also bring up another point though. Like this card now, if you plus of it, it'll feel worse for your opponent because you're just like, oh my god, like you literally only have 8 targets for this card and you've drawn 2 of them in your hand. And now you've just thrown away 2 floating memory. So I could see it being worse as well. So now that I've said that, I don't know what to think anymore. I just think like fire level 3 decks need something. Like I've always tried to play fire level 3 decks every format. And like since AOC, it's like I'm playing the deck, but I know it's not good choice. Like I'm not going to take this deck to an Ascent or a big event.
Yeah,
so
I think to hone in on why I feel like Ryle feels different to Creative Shock or Windmill Reclaim or Backup Charge or Fracturize, I think it's the size of the package. Like, because Ryle is a big cap package and it requires kind of a heavy commitment, like it kind of warps the identity of the deck when you commit so many deck slots to running this package. Whereas when you play Fracturize in Water, like, let's be honest, you were playing a full playset of Fracturize no matter what, even if you weren't playing a Backup Charger. Like even the Genbu decks, right, that were cutting Backup Charger and playing Tengu instead, like, they were still playing
What?
Fracturize.
That happened?
Yeah, people were cutting Backup Charger and playing Tengu because you need the quest counter, you needed the deck slots.
Just
I
play
don't
both.
I don't think Backup Charger's in Min's Worlds list. I could be wrong about that.
Really? Okay,
I looked. But I remember it was very common for Genbu to cut Backup Charger. I could be misremembering if you don't fact check me, or go fact check me and tell me that I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, but like Ryle is like, it's literally 16 of your deck slots, and then you're also playing probably Creative Shock and other engine pieces, right? You're playing HDs, maybe Cremation Rituals, whatever. So it's like, so much of your deck is just committed to just the value engine, and you're just trying to play like a kind of small to medium sized top end package, and then all of the mid game, all of the other like identity pieces are gone. Like there's gonna be like no Surveil the Winds, like there's gonna be no Fertile Grounds, there's going to be no, I mean, Frostborn Paladin's another staple card, but like, there's going to be no like other Fractals or Gildas or Tidestone Bovines in your deck that kind of like fill out the engine for you, that are like unique to the Champions class.
Yeah. Also, like when we mentioned Creative Shock always being in heaps of decks and stuff, if they don't ban Ryle, let's say if they just don't, right? Can you imagine just the future of this game with Ryle in the game forever? I think it would be awful. Like it's just gonna continue to be the same things like, sure, there's a lot of variety now because it's new, but if I go to every big event in future sets, I don't think there's gonna be a better draw engine unless they create an even more broken set in the next one. But like,
3.
yeah, if they don't make a better version, then this will continue to be the better version, right? Like then it'll be played forever.
Yeah.
Like I can't see that being healthy for the game.
I will say this card should be banned before Phantom Monarchs come out.
And they've also released a Proxia Vault card Purifying Thurible, which is a 0 cost Regalia. You can pay X, and then you also banish it. You can pick an opponent, and they have to banish X cards from their graveyard, and if X is more than 3, you can also draw a card to your memory. So it's a backup charger that also lets you banish up to 3 cards, or sorry, any amount of cards, but you want to hit at least 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard, as kind of like a good counter to Ral the Abyss.
Yay. Goodbye, Diana.
What do you guys think about these changes?
Goodbye, Diana. Fuck yeah. More Diana. Hey. Yeah.
This is going to be in every win deck, and Diana is going to have no fun. Those Weaving Mana Streams are not going again.
I don't like it. I don't like this card. I mean, it's a good card, don't get me wrong. It's a fucking fantastic card, but I don't like it. I don't like why they've put it out. I think if they ban Ryle and then this card is still around, I'm just going to be upset because it's just going to be a Diana
Well, it's
hate
going to be
card.
around because it's next set.
Just leave it for the next set. Leave it for the next set. You know, like, did we
So you're
need
saying
this?
Leave Ryle? Leave
No,
Ryle.
no. Ban Ryle. But did we need this card? Do you guys honestly think we needed this card? Because I don't think we did.
So I think if you don't ban Ryle, you need this card.
Yes, I agree.
Wait, are we not banning Ryle? Am I excited again?
Okay. So I'll just give my thoughts on the changes real quick.
Hmm.
They moved it. So if you wanted Ryle banned, you saw everything you could have possibly gotten from this event. As far as this is the most that we would have ever gotten to Ryle getting banned. It's moved to Cat 2. So Weebs are saying not only is this like, oh, it's not like if they move to Cat 1, it's like, oh yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll do something. Maybe we won't. Cat 2 feels like it could get banned tomorrow. Like it could happen anytime. And if nothing changes, like to me it really says if things stay the way they are and the metagame doesn't change significantly, Ryle will get banned. And especially you read their methodology, they talk about Ryle being used kind of not in the intended way. Like that's kind of always been a flag that this card will get banned sooner or later. And it being Cat 2 so quickly really screams to me that it'll be sooner. I think there is a world where Ryle doesn't get banned, and I think that world is the
Horrible.
world where the metagame changes significantly. So if we wake up tomorrow and Ryle is down to 10-15% of the metagame, yeah, I think Ryle will not get banned. It'll probably stay Cat 2. It might still get banned in the future, but Ryle won't get banned kind of immediately. And as I feel right now, seeing like the scope of changes that they did and the methodology, my read is that they're banning Ryle the next ban list unless they see something change. So if you want Ryle to stay unbanned,
Don't play it.
start playing Purifying Thurible and start killing these Ryle players real good and send the presence down to the floor, and maybe Ryle will stick around.
Yeah, alright, so my take on the card, them bringing that card out earlier, what was the card that they've done that before with? Was it Nullifying
No
Mirror?
mirror, no mirror.
It was Null Mirror, wasn't it? And that was like an emergency thing that they kind of, it does scream as something is going to happen. I do think that if this card does come out and then Ryle gets banned, Water just got shafted for no reason.
Absolutely.
Like
Okay,
Water just...
to be fair, Water deserves to get shafted. Okay,
Oh yeah, look.
put them in the bin. Put them in the bin.
I am the biggest hater of Water.
Nathan's
even I
cheering for
kinda,
this
like-
card. This is a Nathan card, you know? This is exactly a Nathan
And
card.
like I am actually like slightly feeling sorry for Water, like slightly, like. But the release of this card kind of makes me question: is like, are you banning Ryle? Yes or no? Because it seems like if you are banning Ryle, why release this card? You're literally just saying like we're banning Ryle, so Fire gets hit, Water gets hit, and Wind just gets a boost.
A big boost.
For,
Yeah, this
for
is
no
this is a
reason.
this is a massive boost to Wind. Like even against not Ryle, like we already talked about how it's great against Wind, but like even against Fire aggro, like this can be a pretty solid card.
It's a backup
So-
charger in a sense.
When they say that this is not a proxy card, this is a card that was intended for the next set. It feels a little bit power creepy in that we have access to quite a lot of draw one cards now. Like we have backup charger, we have Tengu, like Wind already had Windspire Crest, and now we have Purifying Thurible. Like no one's really, well, it's not saying heaps of play, but there's the Nefarious Timepiece that exists. Like that card's also a +1 for hand size. Yeah, and then this is also like, this isn't just 3 mana draw a card. This is 3 mana draw a card with potentially massive upside, right? The upside on this card can be huge, and its downside is that it's a backup charger. Just fantastic baseline. So
I think it's legitimately this card is being released. Like this card is being released, and like it's literally Weeb's challenge of going like, okay, we've given you this card, win. We've given you this card, beat now Ascent Taipei. Can you beat Ryle the Abyss? If you cannot, we'll step in and ban the card. If you can, Ryle will stay at least until the end of the format. At least.
And with this, I think Wind can be Ryle the Abyss. I think it's like pretty doable.
So wait, are we on the let's not ban Ryle train?
When I look at this card, it's like,
do we buy
let's
the
say
same train ticket? Do we jump on the same train?
it's still really hard if Ryle is going first. But if you're going first and you get access to Materialize before they get their Materialize, there's a serious debate now. Do you bring this out or do you bring out Sensor? And I don't know which one's better.
Yeah.
This could be better than Sensor. Like, people are playing like Beseech Sensor turn 1. Like, what if you Beseech this turn 1? Specifically, Ryle's card is good, and then versus other decks, it's just a backup charger, which turns out that's a completely playable card. So yeah, it's really interesting to me that this card was coming out next set, and I think it also speaks a little bit to the balance philosophy of Weebs that this card was coming out next set. Because, like, I think when I see this card, and I think, like, okay, you look at the Wind support that came out this set, and there really wasn't that much. It feels like they kind of intended for Wind to be a bit weak this format, and then next format, Wind would come back with cards like Purifying Thurible and all these possibly more hate cards that come out to bring Wind back into the metagame. I could be completely wrong about that, of course, but it's like, it's just cool to see a bit of a leak for this card that was definitely intended to be this the next set and not in this set.
Nathan's playing it this Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, he's playing it at Sword Champs for sure.
No.
No,
You know what I mean.
of
I
course
can play
does.
anything. I
Yeah.
can play anything.
He's
I
playing
can play
Water
anything.
Diana.
Yeah, I'll play Water.
Wait, I've won the draft, right?
I'll play Fire Dune. Oh, you're ahead in the draft. All right. Speaking of the
Pretty much.
draft, let's get into the draft, huh?
So-
So I've compiled the data, and this is the results after Ascent Boston. What do you guys think?
Nathan, you're fucking dead, man. I have almost 5 times your score. That's crazy. After one event. Oh no.
It's fine. Ryle will get
Wait.
banned. Ryle will get banned, and
Nathan.
everything that is giving you any points will go to the ground. You're not gonna get points for the rest of the season, buddy. I hope you enjoy staying at 175 for the rest of your life.
Sorry, I can't hear you from up here. I don't know what you're saying.
Nathan,
I'm so cooked.
Nathan, I'm sorry. Did you just copy the day one like element spread? Is that what you just did?
Essentially.
Christian's up at 65% or whatever, and apparently I'm
Are you
water
spirit
down
of
at
water? Are you spirit of
100%,
water?
bro. It's so bad. It's so bad.
That's so funny.
It's crazy. So this is with the point cap. I think we should bring down the point cap. I think 50 is too many. I think we should limit it to like 20 points a card or something. Like, my highest performing card is 3 of Hearts, and that's getting 19 points. So it wouldn't actually change my score if we went down to maximum of. So we should do that.
Yeah, sure. Man, I'm looking at mine. So Undying Dreams and Ryle the Abyss obviously capped. Evercurrent Raider wasn't capped. Come on, guys. Play more Evercurrent Raider, please. Okay, so obviously all the Ryle stuff is at the top, obviously, right? Looking Glass and Inert Sword, they're kind of pairs, so they make sense. And then 3 of Hearts, Spellwood Scepter, March Hare. Okay, all right, interesting. Very interesting.
I'm relying on my Regalia, Fire, and Liminal Guide.
David has 3 cards that got points. He has 3 cards that got points.
I have 5 cards that got points. Suck shit. Yeah, Beguiling Coup. Whoever's running Beguiling Coup, I believed.
We also have the uncapped points that would have scored if you didn't have a cap here. So that's, thank God we have a cap. To be honest, when I designed the system for this game, I didn't expect any cards to hit the cap, but this is the world that we live in. And in my defense, like, I was kind of designing it with like top 32 in mind. There were there's 50 something players made day 2, so it's a bit more than I expected in that sense too. This is definitely a bad look for me in the draft, but Ryle will get banned. Like, I'm living with the co-op. If Ryle doesn't go down in presence, it'll get banned. If it doesn't go down in presence, it'll go down in presence, and they'll drop anyway. And maybe some of my other cards will start seeing play. But yeah. Any other comments on the draft, guys?
It's funny how Uncapped Liminal Guide was actually the winner. It has more showings than Ryle and Undying Dreams.
I don't know how that works.
It did surprise me a little bit, but you think about it and it makes sense, right? Because I can imagine playing a deck that has Liminal Guide in it. That doesn't
like a mill deck.
If you're playing Water Diana or something, you're probably you could see why you would maybe put Liminal in.
Was it in the Water Diana? Is that?
It must have been, right? There's no way a fire deck would not run Ryle, so It has to be a water
If
deck.
it had Liminal, it would be a thing. It must be water. It must be the water dino.
Any regrets from the draft about cards that showed up that maybe you wish you would have picked?
I think we all regret this, and then that none of us picked Regal
Regal, yes.
Regal. What the fuck's it called? Regal.
Regal
Inquisition.
Inquisition.
Yeah.
So okay, just to because I always thought because it was like I keep thinking it was like distorted for some reason. So I was like, well, it has to be a norm slot.
I just
So the
forgot about
distorted-
Exalted.
Exalted is advance. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exalted is advance. Distorted is norm. Is that right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that how we
So
did it? Okay, cool. Yeah.
yeah, so my entire draft strategy was based around getting Regal as my norm card. That's the entire reason why I dropped Norm so far, was I was going to pick up Regal. And then when I went to go pick up Regal, I was like, oh crap, I can't. It's an advanced card, and I made a huge mistake. So that's definitely the big slip, is going to be Regal. I think the other one is Fiery Interference.
Yeah.
That card has made
Yeah.
waves, and none of us picked it up.
Yeah, we didn't really think about it at all, did we?
To be honest, I'm actually shocked March Hair got 12 points. Like, I'll tell you that right now. I'm like, March Hair got points.
Spell with Scepter
I
got less
legit-
points than Three of Hearts as well. That's crazy.
Legitimately, I'm not even gonna lie. I thought I was gonna be on about 60 points because I was like, I'll get 50 for Liminal Guide, and I'll get 10 for the rest. I literally thought I was 60.
I definitely expected 150 points at least.
There's definitely two picks for me that I kind of regret, and the more I thought about it, like, why didn't I pick it? Was my water one, which should be the. I don't know why I thought this card was gonna see play. It should have been the 3/4 because it was that
Potential?
or the 3/4.
That's the one that I remember saying in the draft video. I thought you would pick it up because that was the last water card that I would have picked if I didn't pick the.
It was one or the
Mana
other.
Stream.
It was one or the other, right? And I don't know why I picked this one. That was wrong. Humpty Dumpty, but in my defense, Humpty Dumpty got picked, and a day later, it was like, by the way, guys,
Nerf Polaris.
Polaris will go to 1 cost, and I'm like, okay, Humpty Dumpty sucks now. So
Also,
that should be in the ring.
yeah, like none of our wind cards have been used at all.
It is interesting for me that Expeditious Opening didn't make it into a single
Yeah.
deck. It was mostly Wind Tristan, and Tristan doesn't really have the space to play Opening. But like, I am surprised that like Beguiling Coup all play and Expeditious Opening didn't.
Yes,
I
beautiful.
do feel like Expeditious Opening will get a point somewhere. Humpty Dumpty and Rival Adjutant, whatever his name is, like, yeah, I'm 0 point. I've got 4 cards. I got 4 cards in my draft. And,
Yeah, so there are 6 cards that haven't scored any points so far. Christian, do you think Purging Tempest is ever getting a point in the rest of the season?
Now that this new Proxia's Vault card is out, absolutely not. There's no
Which
way.
one's Purging Tempest? Is that the Astra card?
No, it's the one. It's the win card where if something were to go to your graveyard from something other than I think the field, it gets banished
yes,
instead.
yeah.
But to be fair, I don't think there's any other wind cards from the new set being played, you know, so
Caterpillar will see play.
Opening will definitely see play.
no. I mean other cards other than these 3. Like, are there any other wind cards? Because I couldn't
I think
choose
for
those
wind
2.
there
You
isn't.
you guys chose those 2, so I couldn't choose anything else.
I don't think the Windex are. Let me just take a quick look at Tristan. But I don't think any of them are playing the new cards. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, so
I mean, like, obviously, this is the first time we're doing the draft. Maybe we can change the rules a little bit next time as well.
Yeah, we're happy to adjust it if we feel like it. But like, yeah, I mean,
if Ral gets banned, I get to pick another fire card, guys.
absolutely not. You've already got your 150 points. You have to get nothing for the rest of time for us to catch up. Actually, do you know what is the win card that we should have picked? It's Longtail Grove Sword, the fast 2/3 or fast 2/2.
Oh, people are playing it?
It made one day 2 list.
Oh,
There's one Wind Allies playing it. Yeah.
in the draft, I said I really wanted to pick that card, but I just didn't know if it was. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Well, it would be, as of this point in time, after one event, it would be the highest performing win card.
It would have given me a point. Damn it. But aside from that, I'm looking at these, and yeah, I mean, it's like pretty much what we expected, right? The Rail package is mega played.
Really strong.
The Looking Glass was definitely going to be played. Are you surprised by how little it was played?
I was surprised by how much it was played, if anything. I thought it would be played less than this.
Really?
Looking Glass, you're saying?
Yeah.
In 15
I
decks?
thought Looking Glass was about right. It's a very good, like, regalia. That's what I'm thinking.
I think it's
like,
only good in Crocs.
that's why I said it's a good regalia.
It's good in Crocs. It's good in that the restand Mad Hatter list because you need it for Ranger Strides. Otherwise, yeah, I honestly didn't think that Looking Glass would be that good. But it is still, it's definitely showing up. We'll see if it still shows up outside of Royal Meta, but it definitely does show up.
I think it will. I mean, like the Mad Hatter thing is always going to be a thing.
So
You think that deck is still going to be a thing outside of Fire Meta?
Yeah, I think people will still play it. Like it wouldn't be as high rolly. Like I think you would change it a little bit. But
I think it gets a lot harder when you start playing against decks that have fast speed interaction. But yeah.
moving on from the draft, the next piece of news that we got is there's a new Recollection coming out. Yes.
I was right.
Wow.
Partially.
Something's wrong in the world when David's right. Okay, guys. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's a bit of a sad.
Actually, you know what? He was wrong. He said Mordred and Merlin. I don't see no Mordred,
I
David.
said partial. I said partially right.
Yeah, we
But
got
you
lots of Mordred, bro. Where is it?
But do not deny the fact that both of you said Merlin is not getting a Recollection. You are crazy. Merlin does not need a Recollection.
I hate how thirsty people are for some champs, and then some champs just get nothing. Get nothing.
I say, look, I saw the hints for the Merlin Recall as well. Everyone kind of knew the writing was on the wall. I was just a denier because I wanted to live in a world without Merlin.
Me
And
too.
instead, we live in this world with Merlin Rico, and I yes, I said it wouldn't happen. Yes, I was hoping for it not to happen, but bro, she's stepping through the looking glass. You kind of know that she's showing up either in the set or in the Rico.
But when I said, look,
I was hoping she'd be in the set and not the Rico.
Me too.
I got it wrong when I made it more broken by saying she's an assassin mage. But you guys were like, she's not an assassin. There's no way she's an assassin. And I'm like, she's an assassin.
That's the scary thing too, man. She's a Crux champ. Wait, is she Crux? She's Crux, right?
Yes.
She's Crux with Incap. Please, no. Why, guys?
Prox, Incap, Rile package. What could go wrong?
But yeah, not looking forward to facing Bursa Pendragon and Incap in the same deck.
I'm tentatively holding out for what we actually get. The concerning part for me is that we're getting Merlin level 1, and even if the new Merlin 3 isn't very good, you go into older Merlin 3 and probably that card is still pretty good. So I don't really know how they're going to silo this Merlin to not abuse old Merlin, but I mean, Weebs have done a pretty good job of it before. I was really worried about when Gorgia came out, because I was like, slimes are really good. They're printing another tamer. I'm gonna put slimes in that tamer. And then it turns out the way they built the Gorgia is it's actually really, really hard to put slimes in the Gorgia.
Yeah.
So maybe we can finally give Merlin a taste of her own medicine and have her level 1 Merlin level up into a different champion. Okay. We go level 1 Merlin into Tristan level 2, old Tristan level 2 into Tristan 3, and we can finally do to Merlin what she's been doing to every champion in the game when they come out.
Yes.
Oh my god, I just realized something. And I just looked it up. It depends how much Merlin can get preps. Obviously, everyone knows the Mercblade with Ghost of Pendragon, that's fine. To a degree. Someone says.
Fun, he says,
Mercblade with Spirit's Blessing.
It's the same as the Eventide Spear.
Oh, so it's unlimited Mercblade. David, please don't will that into existence.
Yeah, he's gonna try bring back. Does Infusion have any class bonuses? I don't think Infusion has any class bonuses on it.
This is DOA, by the way. DOA, we don't do class bonuses.
There's no class bonuses. Why? All of the Luxem cards have class bonuses on them.
It has to be tied to sword.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard to put a sword in your deck. Sword of Seeking? Who cares, bro?
Yeah.
I will say that Merlin will always be able to generate a decent number of prep counters in Wind, because you'll have Windwalker boots and you'll have Surveil the Wind, and you're presumably an assassin, right?
And don't forget Sadi.
Yeah, and you have Sadi.
Yeah, Black Market Broker.
She is designed to be in water, so we'll see how gated she is to water. Maybe she has a
element
if she
bonuses.
has a floating memory mechanic, she'll really struggle in Wind if she needs to have her own floating, right? Because Wind is so bad at putting floating in the bin.
I trust that Weebs, much as I kind of complained about how Ryle was a bit of an oversight, I think most of the time Weebs gets it right. And especially with the Recollections. So yeah, I guess David's excited for the new Rico. I mean, I'm excited for it too. I like Recollections. They're good.
To me, it feels too far away for me to get excited. Maybe it's just because we have more events coming up, and I'm actually going to Ascent this season, and especially Arky is super exciting. So I'm not even about the Rico next set. It's cool that we have the information. The Merlin art looks really nice. But yeah, I'm not really thinking about competitive play or the implications of Merlin, and I won't until at least after Arky.
For me, it's something to look forward to in the future once they ban Ryle. So I need to something to keep me going. So
It's
I'm
the
like, I'm
light
looking
at the end of the tunnel for David.
yeah, I'm looking at December and I'll be like, just, oh, we're almost there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to jam like non-fire decks, and
Okay,
pretty much.
maybe this is the wrong take, but I think that fire will be fine after you ban Ryle. I actually think that Fluffy Shopkeep and like maybe like Excalibur Reflected Edge and like some of these other cards have given, and like the Looking Glass is what's given Crocs the big boost. I don't actually think it's Ryle. To me, Ryle was a huge leveler. Like it made all of these other level 3 decks viable. But for me, the reason why Crocs became the best level 3 Ryle deck was because it got access to these other tools that make that deck good. And Ryle is just like another good piece for that, and it definitely helps the deck for sure. But like the reason why that's better than the other fire decks is because of these other tools that it got.
Sure.
I think
I can see
that
that.
could be a thing. Like, and I could agree with that as well. To be honest, I think it's that, and also the fact that water got hit.
So I think Onsol would farm fractals because you play Clarent. You
Yeah,
have
I guess
Spellwood
so.
Scepter and you have Clarent.
I mean,
Right?
that's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is true.
So like you should be able to resolve an Onsol. I mean maybe they frack your Spellwood Scepter and then you can't play the Onsol. But like you can also just go Clarent, banish some
No,
swords and
you
start
don't
hitting
need.
them, right? When you're playing a Note Sword or Sword of Shadows, like if you go to your level 1 and you swing face, and then next turn you level and you play Rending Flames, you did 2 damage with the sword with the first sword, and then Rending Flames with level 2 is 7 damage times 2 is 14, so you just did 16 damage. So if they didn't level up, they're actually dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
mean,
agree. I
there
think
is a
Ensoul will
thing.
be decent without Rao.
Yeah.
The other decks, I mean, I think maybe Luxem would probably go back to Wind.
Look, I think
Jin is going back in the box.
Jin goes back in the box. Rai goes back into Oblivion. He wasn't even in a box.
CL, I don't know if CL is holding on without Ryle.
Yeah.
so. Yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Yeah, we talked about Boston. We talked about the Recollection, and we talked about the changes made in the B&R. So stay tuned for our next one. And yeah, so thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.